Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me
Dr.
on.
Martin Luther King Jr. quoted the scripture, "A little child shall lead them." In the fall of 1963, four little girls did just that. The names were Addie Mae Collins, Carol Robertson, Cynthia Wesley, and Denise McNair. The girls were in the bathroom in the basement of Birmingham, Alabama's 16th Street Baptist Church. It was 10:15, and they were in between Sunday school class and the 11 o'clock church service. They may have been in the mirror fixing hair or admiring each other's shoes while sharing secrets. They were young girls. Denise was 11. The other three were 14. They probably spent their days giggling, whispering, and dreaming. This day would have been no different, except that someone had ever so gently, taking the time to protect his life, placed a bomb under the brick staircase in front of the church and run off. At 10:22, the bomb went off and exploded the lives of a nation. The church walls collapsed, and the girls were buried in rubble, smoke, and hatred. They say they died instantly. Does that mean they were in the middle of a sentence? The bombing took place 2 weeks after the historic March on Washington. Some say it was direct response from the Klan, angered by the outpouring of tens of thousands of African Americans who stood side by side in unapologetic solidarity.
I was just 5 years old at that time. I was living in Lafayette, Indiana. Our house was right down the street from Second Baptist Church. The church was on the corner of Hartford and 16th Street. I loved being there. It was there on 16th Street that I sang my first solo. This was the church where I cultivated forgiveness and reconciliation. The minister's children and my friends, Angie, Cheryl, and Cynthia, liked being in the basement, away from the larger groups of adults. The cement basement held the kitchen and fellowship hall where people traded buttered biscuits for delicious gossip. The bathrooms were also in the basement. Sometimes a pipe broke and I would have to carefully navigate my black patent leather feet over puddles of who knows what. Yet we were drawn to that bathroom as though it was a sanctuary within the sanctuary. The church was not far from Aunt Sarah's house, who had gone to march on Washington that summer. I was fascinated with her constant retelling of her adventure as a single mother of 8, taking the risk to go and hear Dr. King speak. I am standing on top of the mountain. I have joy down in my heart. That is why I'm singing and dancing. You are welcome to my view of the stars. You are welcome to my view of the stars.
Dr. King said in his eulogy, "Kings die and beggars die. Rich and poor, old and young die. Death comes to the innocent and it comes to the guilty. The spilled blood of these innocent girls may cause the whole citizenry to transform. They did not die in vain. In the brief years that they were privileged to act on this mortal stage, they played their parts exceedingly well. They are now committed back to that eternity from which they came."
These girls were only a few years older than I was, and yet we had a lot in common. We went to a Baptist church on 16th Street. We lived in different cities, but we shared similar experiences. If I had known them, they would have been my role models.
Reverend C.T. Vivian said, "No one who is involved in a struggle for freedom and justice dies in vain." The struggle in Birmingham and the death of the four little girls set the stage for the Selma Voting Rights Campaign, leading to the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
They died in the midst of our fight for a life with dignity. Their deaths led us to make great steps toward justice, but the struggle is not over. They lived. They died. I live. And I have an obligation to bring us closer to liberation and not let their deaths be in vain. There's a child beside me walking. There's a voice inside me talking. There's a word needs saying. Carry it on. Carry it on. Carry it on and on and on and on and on.
My father's people were from Apopka, Florida. And when I was a little girl, I remember my father taking a trip to Apopka and coming back with oranges. His family owned orange groves there. And I was so excited. My mom had said that he might bring these oranges from the real orange groves. And I had all these image of what it was going to look like and what it was going to taste like. And when he brought us the oranges, they were yellow and green on the outside, not at all the sun-kissed bright orange that I was anticipating. And I just couldn't, I was like, is that an orange? That looks like a grapefruit. And my daddy was like, this is a real orange from the tree. And when we tasted it, I can still remember how sweet it was. That taught me something about what things look like on the outside, what they are on the inside. What does it mean for a thing to be real? What does it mean for a thing to be loved? One of the other things that my daddy taught me that I believe he brought from the life that he lived there and instilled in us was the belief that I, as a Black girl in this world, could do anything. In our house, we weren't allowed to say the word can't. And I believe that I was 10 years old before I understood that in other people's houses, can't was not a swear word, because in our house it was. I would say I can't. My father would look at me like, what? You can. You don't even speak that. And so I want to hold that gift, to share that gift, to pass that gift along, that we can, that we need to look on the outside, to question what's real, to go inside. We can do anything. Thank you.
Who will be a witness for our lives?
Joanne Gibson Robinson boarded a city bus in Montgomery, Alabama in 1949. She sat in the wrong seat. She experienced violence and disrespect in the form of discrimination. She turned her frustration into the Women's Political Council of Montgomery, and in 1955, these women became the machine behind the Montgomery bus boycott, which helped to activate 50,000 Black people to create lasting change.
Creating lasting change in our lives.
Long before Kamala Harris, Shirley Chisholm accomplished a political first as she campaigned for the Democratic nomination as a candidate for President of the United States. She ran under the slogan, "Unbought and Unbossed."
Unbought and unbossed in our lives.
Fannie Lou Hamer co-founded the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. She was committed to empowering marginalized people to have a meaningful voice in the governance of their lives. She reminded us to never forget where we came from and always praise the bridges that carried us over.
Remember the bridges in our lives.
In 2013, three Black organizers, Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, and Opal Tometi, created a Black-centered political will and movement building project called Black Lives Matter. It began as a response to the acquittal of Trayvon Martin's murderer, George Zimmerman. Their efforts activated an international movement for justice and liberation. In order to maximize the impact of this work and to develop a way of working that did not replicate harmful practices that have excluded so many in past movements for liberation, they made a commitment to placing those at the margins closer to the center.
Margins toward the center in our lives.
Stacey Abrams, an accomplished writer, politician, and activist, ran for governor of Georgia and was defeated in an election characterized by voter suppression. She turned her energies toward empowerment and has mobilized hundreds of thousands of voters across the state of Georgia, inspiring others across the country to believe that we can create a more just society. She reminds us to remember this in the darkest moments, when the work doesn't seem worth it and change seems just out of reach. Out of our willingness to push through comes a tremendous power. Use it.
One vote can change the world in our lives. One vote can change the world in our
Vote
lives.
to change the world.
To change the world.
Pray to change the
Pray
world.
to
Fight
change the world.
to change the world. Sing,
Fight
dance,
to change the
love.
world.
Make
Sing
change.
to
Make
change
change.
the
Make change.
world.
Pray, love, fight,
Change
dance,
the
sing,
world.
change.
Love to change the
Make
world.
change.
Change the world. Change the world.
Change the
the
world.
world. Will the circle be unbroken? Seven strong and 7 wise. We are stronger, walking together through our victory and strife. Oldest sister leads the way, speaks truth no matter the price to pay. Always sharing what she knows and tells us when to stop and to go. Oldest brother jokes and teases, makes us laugh until we cry, lets us know our best is good enough if we're willing to give it a try. Peaceful purpose is the third child, lends a hand to those in need, never judging or looking down while he lives to do good deeds. Our family scholar keeps on learning while she gathers PhDs. It is knowledge her mind keeps yearning as she earns more and more degrees. Middle sister builds a business, sharing wisdom that will show us how to spend our money. Just say yes and watch it grow. Sister, shows the way of how to care each and every day. Her broad smile lights the way, and her compassion comforts all. Baby sis sings grandma songs and weaves the stories of our lives to show the world that we are worthy and that we have all survived. Will the circle be unbroken? 7 strong and 7 wise. We are stronger, walking together